Good morning, Delaware. We did it.
Good morning, Nicole.
It's spring break. Yes.
I am so proud of you. You're still standing.
I am still standing. We had a fun day yesterday. We didn't do big stuff for spring break this year. We're all still recovering from musical time. So.
Yes.
But we did a day at Legoland in Easton yesterday.
Ooh, nice.
So much fun.
You know, that's still big stuff.
It is big stuff.
It is big stuff.
And because we didn't do anything else really this spring break, we went big. So we got the package that came with the VR experience and the activity pack where you stamp it for the different things. Did you know? I mean, this is crazy and probably a plug for Legoland. So, support WDLR, please. But there are like 2 stories of amusement park underneath Easton. That is how Legoland. Oh yeah, no, that's how Legoland works. Like you go to Easton and you see the Lego store, and it's this maybe 300 square foot store or something.
Yeah,
it's probably bigger than that, but it's this tiny little store. But then you buy your ticket to go to Legoland, and you are going underneath Easton. There are rides.
What?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. There are create workshops. Like if you're familiar with some of the rides that they have at like Disney World, where you sit in a car and you have a little laser pointer and you try and aim at the circles and get points by like lasering the skeletons and bats and different things like that. They have one of those.
This would be like Lloyd's dream birthday.
Yes, you could. I'm sure. I don't
take
know.
my grown husband to Legoland for his.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
His 40-somethingth birthday.
I know. I was trying to think. Like our friends at COSI, they have COSI After Dark, which is for grown-ups. I don't know if Legoland has something like that for grown-ups, but it's probably.
I don't think it'll matter to him. He just really likes Legos.
You can go underground, really. I want to try it just for that.
It is.
I know.
You
wow.
would have no idea.
That.
You're like, am I still in Easton? It feels like you've entered another world,
cool.
and yet you are.
I'm trying to think because that wasn't original to Easton. So now in my head, I'm like, were they burrowing under me while I was shopping? Like
You'll never
when
know.
I was watching a movie, what was happening underneath my feet? Did I miss everything?
But now everybody's got their next weekend planned. Something.
Yes.
Like that. I don't know. I feel like I need some like a code. Tell them Nicole sent you, and then credit my Lego account, please.
It is an expensive hobby.
It is quite an expensive hobby. Well, we are excited to be with you on Off the Shelf this morning. That's, of course, Molly Meyers-LaBadie and Mark on the board. And then we also have Hannah Atibagos with us today. She is the program manager for the Alzheimer Association of Central Ohio chapter. And we're going to be talking about some of the ways that the library partners with the Alzheimer's Association in the second half of the show. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. But thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll start like we always do, talking about books or other things.
I have other things today.
What do you have, Molly?
Well, talking about expensive hobbies, my free time, I'm a knitter. And I was looking for a quick read, something I could almost read while I was watching TV with Lloyd, like something relaxing. And I went on to Libby, and I always forget they have all these magazines. If you are a magazine reader, magazines can get expensive. Also, I never want to throw them away. I am not going to lie. I cannot throw especially if I get like a knitting magazine or something. So I went online and I was like, okay, what's this experience? And I was able to find the magazine Simply Knitting. I've got the current spring issue of it. And I'm going to tell you, I'm a picky knitter, okay? I have found that a lot of knitting patterns, I look at them and I go, just because you can doesn't mean you should. A lot of obnoxious prints, a lot of, just showing off that you can do these skills, but I don't necessarily think somebody should wear them. Not true on Simply Knitting. Nice. It was really nice. I mean, there's probably a pattern too I wasn't crazy about, but most of it I really liked. This is great no matter where you are in your knitting experience, down to haven't picked up sticks before, and I'll talk about that. The features in this magazine are great. There's everything from sweaters for men, women, children, scarves. My favorite was Knit Leon the llama. And he is a Peruvian llama.
Oh, of course.
And super foofy and very much for a beginning knitter. And I learned how to really knit by making stuffed animals for my nieces and nephews. This is one I 100% would have made one of those kids.
Yeah.
But I'm in love with the sweater on the front cover. They have cute little features in it like Yarn Bomber of the Month. So yarn bombing, if you've never heard of this, is going into your community and knitting like wraps for trees, or you can yarn bomb the like benches that you're going to sit on. And knitters just go crazy. They can't stop themselves, and they put yarn all over your community. Well, this one was put in England. And they knit, so their mailboxes there look a little like wider than our fire hydrants here. Mm-hmm. And they knit tops for them that had like entire like little characters, like there was a farm one, and there were like all these different things going on top. 3-dimensional, absolutely fun. They have quick things like little gloves. If you just want something for Easter, you can make little bunnies to go on top of your soft-boiled eggs, because I'm sure people make soft-boiled eggs a lot. But if you do, I have some patterns you can get right from Simply Knitting on Libby. And it just checks out like a book.
Yeah.
Go in. And knitting is not the only kind of magazine. There are so many to pick from. Whatever, if you crochet, there are crafts that don't involve yarn, but I can't name any of them right now.
There's also Runner's World.
Runner's World.
Is one of them. Like if you're into sports, there's also cars. There's
fashion, of course. So if you like to look through those fashion magazines but don't want to drop that dime.
And tons of recipes.
And actually home decoration as well. It's a great place if you're looking for, if you've got a new place and you're excited, but you're low on cash. Hey, is this just another way the library saves us a lot of money?
Oh, I bet it is.
Like a lot of money.
And the cool thing about the Libby magazines is that when you download them, they really don't have a return date on them like other digital checkouts do. Our digital checkouts, you get the book for 21, 28 days, and then it magically disappears. But the magazines never disappear. So
I can just keep looking at this, which is great, because even one of the features has where it shows you how to do basic stitches. It's got a thumb cast on that I'm seriously going to try, because I've been doing the same cast on. I'm pretty sure wrong. Knitwits, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I think I taught you all the wrong cast on.
No.
That's my knitting club. So just a really fabulous resource. Abbreviations always get me. This has an abbreviation guide that pops up, and they add and change things all the time. So it's like a knitter's little quick guidebook. I absolutely love this. Had no idea what I'd been missing. So I'm going to be playing around a little more in those magazines, I think, in the next few weeks.
I think that's a great idea. And what a good recommendation for our listeners, too. I will tell them all about it. And if you're listening on the podcast, it'll be in our show notes. So look for it there.
Did you say you're a picky knitter?
I'm a picky knitter.
Picky knitter.
In other words, that means that just because I have the skill to do something, I'm very picky on my pattern. I need it to look exactly like me. So I do a lot of plain. I'll do some color mixing. I mainly make baby hats, to be really honest, because people keep having babies, and there's nothing I love more than letting them pick out of a bag of baby hats. Nicole did get a pick.
I am a recipient of a Molly baby hat, and it's pink, and it was a piggy, and it had a little piggy nose, and then 2 little eyeballs, and we wore that hat a lot.
I try to keep about a selection of 6 hats at any given time, because if I'm going to give you a baby hat, I want to make sure you actually want your baby to wear it.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I try to make an adult hat and it comes out in baby size, and I just throw it on in there and make it again.
My 6-year-old now still thinks that she can wear that piggy hat, and I was like, I think it's time that we give it to the next generation.
I think she can still wear that. I'm very proud if she can squeeze it over her head.
I know, right?
She's a picky knitter.
I'm a picky knitter.
So you're also a nitpicker.
I am a nitpicker, and that's also what I do when I screw up, which is a lot. Half of knitting is pulling it out.
All right, Hannah, what have you been reading lately?
So I just started a book last night, so I won't get into that. But at the very beginning of the year, I read for the first time East of Eden.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
So on the opposite end of like short and easy.
Very opposite end.
Very long. I almost put it back when I first picked it up. But I really, really enjoyed that book. I will say I read it in January, so I feel like I can't speak too well on the details. But one part that I really loved was the parallels between biblical and the story. Like Cain and Abel, you see names that start with C and A, and they're brothers, and they have that hard relationship.
Yes.
But that's one where afterwards I was like, I need to see if this was a movie.
Yeah.
I need to see if this was a TV show. I need more of it.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying reading classics that I have not yet read.
Right.
And I'm loved that book.
I love that movie connection too, because you see that reinterpretation. So you caught certain things, but you see what like the director or the actors pulled out
Right.
that they want to highlight in there.
And I also like, when you read a book, you kind of picture what the people look like.
Yeah.
So then when you watch a movie, you're like, is that really who I would have casted?
I know.
Right. That's one of my book group's favorite things to do is whenever we read a book, we do our dream casting.
Oh, okay.
And it is funny because there will be certain things that other people will really obviously, like he obviously said it. He had brown hair right here. It said dark hair, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I was picturing Thor, I was picturing big buff and blonde.
That's a huge debate in Outlander is that Claire's eyes are the wrong color. Katrina Balfe does not have Claire's eye color. And now I can't remember which one it is. But that's like if you get on all the chat boards, not that I'm that obsessed with that book and show, but I am.
But does it really matter?
No, because she is Claire.
Exactly.
She's Claire.
Well, speaking of like how we envision things, I have actually picked up a play lately. So I was curious about one of the shows that's coming up in the Arena Fair Theater season this year is called You Can't Take It With You. And it's a comedy. And there was a movie that my parents looked up because I was like, oh, I don't know. I think maybe the movie was made in the 50s. No, it was made in the 30s, 1937.
Wow.
You Can't Take It With You. It has Jimmy Stewart in it, very young Jimmy Stewart. And it's a story about a family in New York that has made their money. They're a group of eccentrics, and they decide that they're all going to quit their jobs so that they can pursue all of their creative longings and desires. And so there's a mother who's been working on plays. She just sits in front of the typewriter and pulls out, oh, maybe I'll do this one today, and works on that play. There's a father who's making fireworks in the basement. There's somebody else who's a candy maker, somebody else who's a dancer. They're just all exploring their creative passions because they have the ability to do so. Grandfather lives in the house, and he likes to go to the local college and just sit in on some of the things. He really loves to listen to the commencement ceremonies. He loves to hear the commencements. And so what happens is their youngest daughter is the youngest granddaughter in the family. She is dating the son of a CEO for the company that she works for. And they probably are making their way toward an engagement. And they decide that the families should probably meet. Well, when you have a family that is a CEO running a company and, very well-to-do in New York City and a family of creative eccentrics, only hilarity can ensue from there.
It's like my dream to have money and then be an eccentric.
Exactly.
This is all I've ever wanted.
This is everything in Molly's desires, yes.
I'm going to yarn bomb everything.
Well, and I didn't know anything about it. I could find the DVD, but honestly, I don't know in my house if I have something to play a DVD on, which is really bad.
Yeah.
But I went right to the source. And so I requested the play, and I actually got the play. So it has all of the lines. It has all of the stage notes. At the back, it has all of the props that you would need and where they go. I mean, this is literally what you would have in your hand if you were going to do this show, which is so cool. And it came from the library, and it even has one of the things that I noticed is it has a diagram of how the set should look. So if you're even curious about how to set your set up, it's right there in the notes. They put it right there. So
I feel like we both just did how-tos.
yeah.
Like how to put on your own play.
Find a play at the library. How to find magazines at the library. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm actually still I'm slowly I'm really soaking it in. I'm meandering my way through the play. So I don't know how the engagement ends up and how the dinner ends up with the two. But again, I said it can only end in hilarity.
I'm going to want you to come tell me.
Yeah.
Because I'm eccentric and this seems like life goals and I should be studying this.
Okay, well, I'll let you know how it works out. All right, well, with that, we will take a break. And on the other half, we will be back with Hannah Atibagos from the Alzheimer Association Central Ohio chapter. Well, thank you so much, Mark. We are happy to be back with you this morning. And we have a fun guest with us today. This is Hannah Atibagos, Program Manager for the Alzheimer's Association Central Ohio chapter. Good morning, Hannah.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you here today because we have like a long history of having a nice partnership between the Alzheimer's Association and the Delaware County District Library. Do you recall how far back it goes? I was trying to even think, but or even where it started. I know where we are today, though.
Right. I started in 2021, and I can't say what we did before then.
Right.
But we started our support group. That was in, I want to say 2022 or maybe early 2023.
We were just coming out of COVID, I think, as we started getting moving with that.
I was rebuilding kind of our in-person support groups. So, I mean, probably 22, 23, at least for me.
It's been really fruitful, though. And one of the things that we're really happy to provide that you mentioned is the fourth Thursday at 10:30 at our Orange Branch Library. We have a support group that meets. And it's got a specific aim. Can you talk a little bit about who this support group is for?
Yeah, this is my most unique support group in Delaware County. It is a men's caregiver support group. So really all of our support groups for caregivers are general. We have some that are specific, adult children, younger onset caregivers. And we do have a virtual men's group as well. But I was working in Source Point. I do office hours there twice a month, and I was speaking with a caregiver and was talking to him about support groups, and he kind of expressed that he only felt comfortable talking around other men who were in his same boat. So I thought, okay, that's an opportunity right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this group, oh my gosh, it's grown. I mean, that is one of the most consistently attended groups with really the same people every month. They've really built a great support system with each other, and have built great relationships within the group and outside of the group too.
Right. And so this is for men who are caring for anyone in their life who has Alzheimer's. But I bet it's a lot of maybe mothers, maybe wives, or maybe fathers as well.
Yeah. We do have, the majority I would say are spouses, but we do have a couple that care for a mother. And then we do have as well some people who care for a father as well. So it could be anybody living with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia that they're caring for.
I love that you've made it really approachable too, because that is something that I wouldn't have thought about. You know, I would have thought just like everybody is living the same shared experience, but it's not necessarily.
No.
There are differences.
Right.
And I bet there are a lot of cultural assumptions people have about what or who a caregiver is that creates barriers for others.
I'll talk to people and, maybe they're just picking up groceries for someone living with dementia. They're doing small errands, and that person is still a caregiver.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't always think about those little things as providing care for somebody else, but it can be as simple as, driving them to a doctor's appointment all the way up to helping them to the restroom, providing their meals, helping them eat. So that spectrum of caregiving is pretty wide.
Right. Well, and that leads perfectly into another series that we have started this spring, and we're in the second of three that are coming up in that series that are at the end of April and the end of May, and this is your Empowered Caregiver Training. So the next one that's coming up is Thursday, April 24th at 5 p.m., and this one is about communicating and responding to dementia-related behaviors. So who is this open to, and what sorts of things will you touch on there?
So these programs, every program in the Empowered Caregiver series is really designed for those non-professional caregivers. So spouses, adult children, family, friends. And really the series is kind of geared towards those caring for someone in the middle to late stages of the disease. Now, of course, someone caring for someone in the early stage can attend as well, because they can get an idea of what comes along and what to expect. So there's no limitation there. But when the program was created, it was designed with middle to late stage in mind.
Yeah. And then it'll follow up with the third in the series on Thursday, May 29th at 5 p.m. This is at our Delaware Main Library with Exploring Care and Support Services. And I'm sure that that's something that the Alzheimer's Association is exceptional at, which is being experts in the disease, but also in help and where else can we go, what other resources do we need, what resources do we not know that we even need, and pointing people to those.
There's so many. I have to say, I think an underutilized resource is kind of respite as a whole, whether that's adult day or if it's bringing someone into the home to help with something as simple as chore services, or homemaking, just to give that caregiver a break. But so many times we have the expectation, like, this is my loved one, this is what I have to do. And I don't feel like I should have someone else care for them. I don't feel like someone should come in the home. But we really try to stress to our caregivers that if you are not taking care of yourself, you cannot take care of your loved one. So you need to utilize those respite services. And again, there is kind of a spectrum of them, simple chore services all the way to utilizing a 5-day-a-week adult day program.
Right.
So I would say that's one that's probably underutilized, just maybe because of maybe it's cultural, some stigma as well. But I think we could use some more of that.
Yeah, I think people really want to be like, nope, this is my duty. Absolutely, but you don't always have to fall on your sword. You do. You do deserve your own self-care, because that the disease is just absolutely wrecking, to everyone going through it.
And that idea of putting the face mask on yourself before you help somebody, that falls right here. You can't be everything you need for your loved one if you're not taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
Right. It's funny, there's a man that I've followed on social media for several years now. His name is Carlos Whitaker, and his father was in late stages, Alzheimer's, and his father, when he passed, Carlos recognized the caregiver who sat right next to his mom, or right next to his dad. His mom at the funeral, because the caregiver became a member of the family. Yeah. He really was, the niece, the nephew, the cousin, the sister, the brother, just the same as anyone else who was part of the family.
Right. So many times, it can be difficult to find help that's a good fit. And when you do find someone like that, oh my gosh, you just cling to them. When you have someone that you feel comfortable, being in your home, being with your loved one who's in a vulnerable position, I mean, that means the world. But sometimes it does take time to find that right person.
And their expertise can sometimes see things that you're too close to see. I mean, in our experience, my family had ALS. My dad had that. But when we were able to bring caregivers in, they knew things we didn't know to even ask to make him more comfortable. And I think in this case, too, somebody who can help you navigate those areas that we can't all be experts on the diseases that enter our lives. So having that person who is that more of an expert, or who knows the resources that we don't know are out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That can be game changing.
So Hannah, if somebody's listening today and maybe they feel like some of these things are for them, but they're not ready to take the next step and join a group of 10 people or come to a training, what would you recommend they do next?
We have a couple items that I would call first stops. So we do have a 24/7 helpline, which, I mean, just like it sounds, it's available 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. And it's staffed with master's level clinicians who actually understand the disease. They're not just there to answer the phone. They're there to talk to you through situations, answer questions. Great resource. So that number is 800-272-3900. You can also get connected directly with your local chapter by calling the helpline. If you're asking about local resources, it'll most likely get routed back to me. So you may end up talking to me anyways.
Perfect.
And then also our website. It's a really great first stop for caregivers and people living with the disease right after a diagnosis. And that's just alz.org. And it's got a ton of resources about what to expect with the disease, tips to live well, tips to prepare, and just general information about what to expect as well.
Yeah. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention, too, that at the library, our outreach services department has not recently, I mean, it's been several years now, but they've developed a memory care set of resources. And it's everything from those fine motor skills that you wouldn't think necessarily go with memory care that absolutely do, like threading a shoelace through a hole, or, painting, or other things like recalling a rotary phone, or recalling a shoehorn, to get your shoes on properly. So, so we have resources at the library too.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, this has been really, really informative. I wanted to give a definite big plug to alz.org. Check out our events calendar and see all of the upcoming ways that you can get connected with the Alzheimer's Association. That is online at DelawareLibrary.org.
We've got a lot there.
We've got like a minute, Molly. We've got to give it over to the city. So one thing that you could mention.
One thing, I just got to remind people, I know it's so hard with one thing. We have our wonderful presenter who was on the radio a couple weeks ago doing Molly Brown Brought to Life at Liberty this coming Saturday. That's tomorrow, I think, if today is Friday and I'm in the radio. So that's going to be from 1 to 2 at Liberty. And she's going to come back as Agatha Christie at Delaware from 3:30 to 4:30. So if you want an amazing sort of experience that is free, come on down, have a watch. I think she's going to be absolutely amazing.
That's right. And all of the kids are going to be back in school next week. So
you sound so relieved.
I'm so excited. All right. Well, that's our time for today. Thank you, Hannah, for joining us. Thank you, Molly, as always.
Love it.
Mark, thanks for running the board.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you in the stacks.